Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge. The morning after the night before, fantastic result for Manchester United and lots and lots to digest. We're going to be talking about harsh truths around Manchester United. We're going to be focusing in on Ten Hag, obviously what he said after the game, how he's dealt with the Rashford situation in the correct way. The longer I move away from the game last night, the more it's clear Ten Hag got that spot on. We were just lost in the emotion. Some big words from Rasmus, absolutely spot on, honest words after the game. We'll also be looking at the Onana issue. Some people talking about Anthony as well, to be fair. Where's the Jose lovers now? All got a bit quiet maybe, maybe not. We'll talk about that too. Also want to talk about the squad unity last night, I think was the big thing for me. But look, the first thing I want to say is there's a harsh truth. I think it says it on the thumbnail. There's a harsh truth here because Manchester United deserved to win that game last night. And if it wasn't from magical Mainoo at the end of the game, and it was magical and it was brilliant and it was a brilliant goal and it was individual and it did remind me of Makeda, even though that was for the title. It was a get out of jail card and it was a moment of brilliance. And the great thing is it wasn't a hit and hope. It was just pure quality. But why are we in that position? Why is that happening? And I think Erik Ten Hag has dropped enough hints over the season to what the harsh truth is with United. And I want to delve into that because I think too many people have made their minds up in negative ways. We've seen that this week. We've had some really interesting shows, but very divisive shows around whether Ten Hag should be the manager, whether Rashford should start, certain players, etc. And I just think, I can't guide anybody, but the way I feel at the moment, just to give you a glimpse, is very, very positive. For the first time in a long time, I actually feel positive. I think you've got a new batch of Mainoo, Garnacho and Rasmus that you can build on, and I want to see more coming through and more new signings in the summer. Rasmus is a signing, Garnacho and Mainoo have come through the youth. I think there's reason to be positive when you've got three players. And can I just say as well, I don't know why people aren't talking about Garnacho last night. I actually thought he had a really good game. I think if you watch football and you understand football, Garnacho was just really unlucky last night. He would have had a good assist from Rasmus. It was a good save by Sarr. His final ball let him down a few times, but his intelligence on the ball, the runs he was making, the tracking back, everything was right about Garnacho's game last night. He just didn't get one or two assists, which I think he may have done in a different game. I think, yeah, Mainoo and Hojlund take the plaudits, take the headlines. Of course they do. But I don't think Garnacho was far off from being in the headlines as well. And I see some people saying, oh, he had a bad game. I'm like, what game are you watching? He wasn't selfish. He put the work in. He was looking to play the pass. He just didn't get the pass right a few times. But I thought he played really well. And after have three players like that coming through, people talk about what the vision is for Manchester United. Well, we've got three players who are basically teenagers. Rasmus is 20, he's going to be 21 very soon, but it's his first year in the Premier League. I think there's a lot, there's a new batch to really get excited about there. And I think that is a vision in itself. If you look at where United were under Ollie, and where we are with Ten Hag after 18 months, we've got three young players in the team starting. So I think that is something to get excited about. I thought there were holes in the team yesterday, but there were real positives. It's the first time we've got hold of the ball. Bruno said it after the game. The way that we moved the ball was more patient, more deliberate. Obviously, we've got the perfect game on Sunday. So I'm feeling very positive at the moment. But there is realism here. And I do detect as well that we've almost become accustomed to finding the negative. And, I can't control that. You can't control how you feel. But I would urge people to try and put the negative in the drawer. Put it in there and close it away. Because there's been so much negativity around Manchester United for longer than this season, a long period of time, that we may have almost forgotten what it means to be happy and positive and hopeful. And I may not feel like this on Monday morning after the West Ham game, but I do feel about it like it now, and I want to hold on to that because it's a really nice feeling. And I see people this morning, I saw Luckhurst going on about Anthony last night, and I've seen some other people going on about Onana and Anthony, and I'm like, yeah, they are conversations, they are topic points, but not everything's ever perfect. I remember watching United in the 99 season. Guess what? Anybody who's old enough, that team didn't play well every game. We lost some games. Sometimes Beckham was below average. Sometimes Neville was below average. We look back on the past and go, oh, it was just perfect passion, 8 out of 10s every game. And it wasn't. Bruno wasn't perfect last night, but the rest of the team elevated the results. and Bruno probably really good on Sunday. So I think there is reason to be positive. But also, there is a harsh truth here. And the harsh truth is that we will still have bad results this season. And I think we collectively are starting to see what went wrong last night and what's been going wrong all season. And nobody likes an excuse, but the harsh truth is we don't have the squad to cope with 90 minutes football, let alone a season. We are in the position we are in the league, nowhere near the top 4, because we don't have a squad good enough to keep up what we want to do for 90 minutes. And that harsh truth has been evidenced and warned by Ten Hag numerous times this season. The reason he keeps talking about Martinez and Casemiro coming back is because when you don't have them, it's like a different team. And that's no disrespect to Eriksen or McTominay or Lindelof or Maguire or Johnny Evans. You know, Maguire's done well this season. Johnny Evans has done well this season. Eriksen and McTominay scored goals this season, but they're not Casemiro and Martinez, but they're also not similar to Martinez and Casemiro. And I think that this is something that when I look at United and I look at the rest of the season, we really are dependent on how bad Martinez's foot can react to games. I mean, I don't think Martinez will actually play on Sunday, if I'm being honest, with how swollen his foot was. And we've already seen what happens when we don't have Casemiro in that midfield. I mean, Mainoo's been a godsend being able to do it. So I think that the harsh truth is that the warnings have been there from Ten Hag all along. We miss certain players in that team so much that we become unrecognisable. That first 45 minutes yesterday has not been Manchester United this season. You know, the ability to control the ball as a team. I've got to say, it was like a personality transplant. Have you ever seen that film, Face Off, with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage? And they're two people, one's evil, one's nice. They swap their faces, and the rest of the world have gone, why is this nice person evil and why is this horrible person nice? And it was like United had a face-off yesterday. It was like, well, for one, we're actually playing good football. We're playing good football here. And we did play good football in the first half. We could have been 3-4-0 up. We had 2 goals disallowed for offside. First half, I'm not going to be a revisionist. We played well and we played good football. The goals we constructed, especially the first 2, were well-constructed goals. We played well and I was like, we can do it. We can do it. But we haven't done it all season. And that's on it. That's the truth. And then the second thing, the fist pumps, the chest pumps, you know, everybody working hard for each other, talking to each other. And I was like, there's 2 things here that we've been crying out for all season. Where's the vision? Where's the patterns of play? Where's the togetherness? And they were all there last night. It was there. I woke up this morning and I had to watch the highlights and I was like, it did happen. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't a dream. It really did happen. Why has that happened? Where has that come from? And we haven't had a pre-season. We've not been on some hot weather training camp in Dubai. We haven't changed the manager. You know, to be honest, yesterday reminded me, and I don't know whether everyone agrees, yesterday reminded me of a new manager bounce. It reminded me of when we've sacked Mourinho and Ollie comes in. It felt like a new dawn, a new start. It really did. And it's hard to explain that when we've got the same manager and we've got the same players and we're in, well, it's February, isn't it? The start of February. It doesn't make any sense. But then so you have to work to make it sense and make it make sense. And the way I make it make sense is very, very easy. We've got 3 young players who have the right mentality and the right work ethic and the right talent to nurture. But we haven't got enough leaders in the team around them. And you bring in Casemiro and Martinez, and then you've got Varane, and you've got Luke Shaw, and you've got Dalot, and suddenly you've got this, they look behind them and they go, yeah, these guys know what they're doing. As a collective, they know what they're doing. As I said last night, you put Martinez and you take Varane out, it's not as good. You take Varane and you take Martinez out, it's not as good. You put them together and it works. And also, Luke Shaw, Dalot were very good last night. Casemiro was very good last night. So I think that Ten Hag is right. We're feeble. We're weak in relation to squad depth. You take Casemiro and Martinez off last night, and we go back to what we've been doing for the last 4 or 5 months. And that's the harsh truth. You take Casemiro, Martinez, Luke Shaw out of that team, and we're the team that we've been for the last 4 months. Not playing good football, scraping by. And it's no bad reflection on the players that come in, but the drop-off from our best 11 to the bench is night and day. And it's not just about talent. As we've seen, some of those players have scored goals, had good performances. But, it's just a different type of good. You know, it's like you're having an Italian meal and someone drops a tikka masala on the table. It's not Italian food. It's still nice, but it doesn't work with the red wine and the different types of foods that you've got. There has to be a unity. There has to be. And what we saw last night is what we've been seeing all season. The harsh truth is we don't have a squad that works together. Arteta looks behind him. Jurgen Klopp looks behind him. Even De Zerbi at Brighton looks behind him. He has a collection of players that work the system that he plays. Ten Hag, we saw in the first half yesterday, has a collection of players that play the system he wants to play. But when he starts making subs, it weakens us because the players that come on can't do it. People bounce back, says Reese. But look, the big thing for me is that I wanted to say this morning is this has got to be a warning shot. And, it's Ten Hag's big warning, but it's a warning to INEOS. INEOS can come in with strategic reviews, but a part of that strategic review has got to be the analysis of why we've put ourselves in this situation this season. Why is it that when Casemiro gets injured, we don't have somebody who can even play that position? Not even somebody who can do it, but not as good as Casemiro, but we don't actually have anybody in the team who can do Casemiro's role. Now, Mainoo stepped in and done okay, but I don't think he's that yet. And I don't think he might never be a 6. He might be an 8. I think he's better as an 8, as we saw with the goal. How is this team not even got a replacement for Casemiro? And more bluntly, why is Lisandro Martinez not only the only left-footed centre-back that we've got, but the only ball-playing centre-back that we've got? So when Martinez is out of the team, defensive line drops, and we can't play out from the back. So, I mean, these are big identity points within the team that have been neglected and have actually contributed to our downfall this season. We lose Martinez again, I think we go back down to mid-table. We lose Casemiro again, I think we go back down to mid-table. This team is ridiculously reliant on squad depth that it doesn't have. And we have, if Varane goes out, I think we drop. If Luke Shaw goes out, I think we drop. If Martinez goes out, we drop even further because we don't have a profile. It's not saying that Martinez is better than Luke Shaw or Martinez is better than Varane. You can have that debate, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about player profile and what they bring to the team. Martinez is a ball carrier from the back who can play between the lines and bring the ball out. You take him out, we can't do that anymore. The whole team can't do that anymore. You take Casemiro out of the team, we haven't got anybody that actually knows how to play that role and allow the team to press forward. So you lose Casemiro and you lose Martinez, you've just lost your identity from midfield and from the back four. How has that been allowed to happen? We know that in the summer, we had an offer accepted for Harry Maguire. So that means that Ten Hag, who took the captaincy off Maguire and accepted the bid from West Ham, wanted to replace him. Now, he would have replaced Maguire with a ball-playing centre-back so that when Martinez is injured, you have a ball-playing centre-back. He would have done that. United didn't allow it to happen because we didn't want to pay Harry off. Now, this is not a criticism of Harry Maguire. 25 million from West Ham would have been a good deal for everybody. We would have brought in a replacement centre-back who can play out from the back. It's not about individuals. We're talking about why Man United drop off when they make subs. Because we can't play the same way. Because we don't have a squad of players that can replace people. We're totally... We want to play like we did in the first half yesterday. But we can't if certain players are injured. That's ridiculous. If Pep Guardiola loses a Kanji, he's got three or four other players who can do it. If Virgil van Dijk gets injured for Liverpool, there's a drop-off. But every other centre-back can do what he can do. Maybe not as well, but they can do it. We lose Martinez, nobody can do it. So you can't play that way anymore. Same in the midfield. Casemiro gets injured. We've got no one who can do it. And I don't think for 1 minute Erik ten Hag didn't look at that and say, I need players who can do that. I just think that's not been delivered by Murta, the Glazers and Arnold. They've said, I know you want a ball-playing centre-back, but it's not the right package for us for Harry, so we're keeping him. Oh, well, that's great. Maguire's a good centre-back, but he can't do what Martinez does. So if Martinez gets injured, my whole game plan falls apart, and we end up mid-table where we are. It's a harsh truth that INEOS need to solve. We need to have 17, 18 players, and we need 2 players in each position that can do the role. I know there's a drop-off if Martinez is injured, but if you bring in a left-footed centre-back who can play out from the back, it's not as big a drop-off. And that's the harsh truth with this team. So when I look at the rest of the season, I feel positive this morning, but I also am very aware that the Ten Hag outers could be back in again very, very quickly if we lose a Martinez or a Casemiro or a Luke Shaw, because we saw what we are in the first half, but we're wafer thin. We lose 1 or 2 players and we haven't got replacements. In a way, I'm very glad, I mean, I'm not glad, but in a way, being out of Europe might help us because it gives us those days in between games that hopefully players can get a bit of recuperation, because there is a harsh truth. We did play well in the first half yesterday, but the second half was a stark reminder that we don't have the bench that Liverpool and Man City and every other club seems to have. I mean, even Spurs, where they're collecting a certain type of player, so that if Maddison gets injured, someone else will step in. United don't have that, and that's what we need to have. And you look at Casemiro in the summer, and people will say, well, why didn't he get a Casemiro replacement in? Well, he did. It was Amrabat. But Amrabat was probably 6th choice, if we're being honest, and we didn't get him in until the end of the window, so he wasn't even part of pre-season. It was a shit summer last summer. It was. We didn't have a centre-back brought in who can play out from the back, and we didn't bring a midfielder in who can do what Casemiro can do, so we ended up with no Casemiro and Martinez for 3 months of the season, and now we're in mid-table because of it. It really does impact on us. So, yeah, look, I know that was a bit longer than I wanted it to be, but I wanted to explain that harsh truth of the fact that we can play well when we've got our best players on the pitch, but this season has proven more than ever you can't play with the same 11 for 90 minutes because you get 10 minutes added on at the end of the second half and 5 minutes added on at the first half. You've got to make subs, and consistently we've seen this season when we make 2 or 3 subs, it changes the identity of the team. We were a different team in the last 20 minutes. When Wolves made it 3-3, I thought I definitely didn't think we'd score. I looked at who was on the pitch and I thought, well, Casemiro's not there. Martinez isn't there. Rasmus isn't there. Garnacho's gone off as well. I was like, we're not going to win this game. And then Mainoo stepped up and won it for us, which was great. But we need to build a bench, and it's a bad reflection on the previous ownership that they've not supported the manager to bring in replacement players that allows him to keep the same style of play when he makes a sub. It's a sad indication of where we are, but it can be solved by INEOS that we can't play the style we want to play for 90 minutes because when we make a sub, the players don't fit the profile of the first team. Anyway, get your comments in. Lots of people having their say as well. Tommy, thank you very much for your super chat. Protect Rasmus by not hyping conversion rates, etc., says International. You watched Jude Bellingham call Mason a rapist, says Mario. I don't think he did. I've seen it. I don't think he did. People bounce back, says Reese. So beautiful to see them cross the ball, says Keel. How deflated every player week in, week out must feel when VAR and the referees are against us, Mark, says Damien. They're against everybody, though, mate. They're against everybody. Just finished the podcast, says Jack. Absolutely hilarious. Love your and Will's banter. Great start for Friday. Yeah, check out the weekend podcast. It's out. Goldbridge Saves Football. It's been out a couple of hours now. Thanks for your support, Jack. Legend. Join the Ultras, everyone. Hi, Mark. Hope you're well. You need to come to South Africa for a tour. You have no idea how many of us watch the United Stand. I would love to do it, I would love to do it. Well, let's talk about Rasmus. I mean, look, he spoke after the game. I said last night, the Rashford thing, which I may as well talk about now and bring this in. This is what Rasmus had to say after the game. I don't want to jinx anything, but hopefully it can be a turning point. It's a big win away, and maybe we can get some wins going. January was okay for us, and now I hope we have a nice February. We take every game at a time, and we go everything we can. We want to win every game and go for the FA Cup and get as high in the table as we can, hopefully get back into the Champions League. I think he's absolutely spot on to highlight the away game. To play like that away from home, if that was at home, I'd have been impressed. But to do it away from home in the first half was very impressive because we know what we like. You know what we're like. You know what we're like. I know what we're like. It's not good away from home. But look, I liked what he said about this. I think there is an old saying with strikers that if you get the first, they keep rolling. This one is scrappy, but I need to be there, and it's a good cross from Luke. I think my role is to find the spaces where I can be free, and normally the manager wants me to go into the front to create a space in behind. It is very, very important. There was one quote for him that I really liked, and I don't know whether we have it, but basically what he said, and I absolutely loved it, was that he said, "Look, if one of the lads put the ball into space and I'm not there, absolutely take me apart. Scream and shout at me. If they put a good ball in and I'm not there, they've got every right to scream and shout at me. But if I'm in the space and they don't put the cross in, I'm going to scream and shout at them. That's the way it should be." And I thought, you know what? This lad, his mentality has been spoken about so much, but he's absolutely selfless. And I think that it's all about the team. And it's like, you know what? If I'm not doing my job, I don't care if they scream and shout at me. That's right. But if they're not doing their job, I'm going to scream and shout at them, because it's what's better for the team, isn't it? I said it last night. I think that he's got leadership qualities, whether that's captaincy or not. It doesn't matter. When I think back about the 94 team with the likes of Bruce and Ince and Pallister and Cantona and Hughes, there were so many leaders in it. The same in 99, the same in 08. It's not about who wears the captain's armband. We need leaders in the team, and the fact that Mainoo, people talk about him as having that as well. Rasmus has certainly got it. You know, who knows whether Garnacho's got it. I think Delot's got it if he can develop as a player. You know, we don't want to jinx it like Rasmus says, but there are green shoots of positivity, and I think we need to get behind that. And as I said last night, you know, you talk about Rashford. Marcus Rashford, to me, it was only a glimpsing performance, really. You know, he got the goal. There were some good moments. There were some good interactions with Luke Shaw. He faded a little bit in the second half, which, you know, Rashford has been fading a lot over this season. He's been inconsistent, hasn't he? But that was probably one of his better performances. It's a slow build. I think Ten Hag spoke about that after the game as well. There are signs of consistency coming back, but I think Rashford needs to transition into a more senior player of the team. He's 26 years of age. He's been playing for a very long time. He's got 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. They're the new batch. Let them take the limelight and be there to be the experienced player to help them through it. I think this is the role for Rashford. I think the media are obsessed with him. It's all Rashford this, Rashford that, and he had his time, you know, where he was doing all the great stuff around school dinners and books and that. You know, that was the Rashford time. It doesn't have to dictate your whole career. You're moving into 26 to 30 now. I'd just be focusing on your football, focusing on Manchester United, focusing on what you're doing on the pitch, and being an experienced, you know, transition from this young, everywhere superstar player profile into focusing on your football, because we've got 3 young players now that can take that pressure, and maybe Rashford can transition into a more, you know, experienced player. I mean, look, it's only a theory. It might not happen. It's one thing to, you know, the media may still stay fixated with him, but I wanted to shout Ten Hag out on this, because it's been a really difficult week, hasn't it? And I want to shout out this community and every Man United fan, really, because to come out the other end with a win like that, I think we all deserved it. I mean, what a week. It has been crazy, and you've got to respect the fact that people have very different passionate opinions. I was listening to Ricky on the countdown to kickoff yesterday, and he was adamant that Rashford shouldn't have started, he shouldn't be in the squad. I respect that. There's nothing he says that I don't agree with. It's just not my stance. My stance through the week got a lot of stick from you lot. I can take it. That's what it's all about. It's all about opinion. I'm not going to say something and then change my mind because the chat thinks something different. You know, that's what we are. We're real, isn't it? We have a real opinion. But my theory was that I did agree with what Man United did. Whoever was involved in it, whether it was Ten Hag, INEOS, I don't know. But I did agree with it. They dealt with it in-house and they said it was dealt with. That was it. They've got that. That's their prerogative. They've got every right to do that, and they did do that. Many people disagreed with it. I would have put him on the bench last night. I wouldn't have started him, but I would have had him involved. Ten Hag took it further. He started him. That was the real minority view. 85% of you said don't start him. So he took the minority view. What I would say about that is, and I need to get my words right here, is it was ridiculously brave, but if it pays off, it's brilliant. Because, and look, you can't say Ten Hag knew it was going to pay off. I mean, we could have lost 3-0 and Rashford could have played terrible, and then the headlines are back again. Ten Hag's out, Rashford's shit, all that stuff. But the way it panned out, the risk was worth the reward, because what we've got now is we've got a happy fan base that's looking forward to West Ham at the weekend. Rashford's played. He's not going to Old Trafford for his first few minutes after what he did and facing the scrutiny of the media, the Old Trafford crowd, etc. It's done, it's dusted. We've won a game. He's not the star. Mainoo's won the game. Hojlund's been brilliant. So we've won the game. Rashford's in the team. He's not the headline anymore. And I think that's a real positive. He's not grabbed the headlines. He's back in the team. The press this morning can't be going on about interviewing barmaids from Belfast or talking about, you know, whether he should start, whether he should be sold. The story's dead. And the positivity of the Mainoo winner and the performance is gone. And it's a risk by Ten Hag, but you have to applaud it, because the story's dead. It's buried. And hallelujah to that. It's gone. He's played for Man United. They won. It's talk about everything else now. And I think that Ten Hag deserves credit for that, because it was the minority view. But that's what he's paid to do. He's paid to make the big choices. And I said this last night. Sir Alex Ferguson used to make big choices all the time, and you respected it and you trusted it. Now, that's not going to be where Ten Hag is at the moment. He's not respected and he's not trusted. But by making big calls that people think are big calls and getting them right, that's how you build your persona back. So the positive for me is that if he hadn't played Rashford last night, whatever the result had been last night, we'd be talking about Rashford today, tomorrow, Sunday. Is he going to be on the bench again? That story's gone. It's now about, I can't wait for West Ham. Let's go with the same starting 11. Let's go and beat them. Let's solidify 6th place in the league, and let's start moving forward as a team. And I think that it worked out perfectly. Look, I'm not going to acknowledge the fact that it could have gone wrong. It could have gone wrong, but it's a big, big call, and it went right. And when it does go right, you've got to give the manager credit. Now, I'm just going to bring up the league table on the screen here, because this has probably been lost a little bit. I'm going to talk about Onana, and I want to talk about Anthony as well, by the way. But look at the league table. We are 1 point behind West Ham. We are 3 points ahead of Newcastle. We are 3 points ahead of Brighton, and we're 4 points ahead of Chelsea, and we've all played the same amount of games. That win last night has elevated into a position that's probably the healthiest position we've been in for a very long time. And the great thing is we've got West Ham at home. So if we win, we will solidify 6th place. On Monday morning, we will be 6th. We will be the best of the rest behind the top 5 that are running away with it. We are 8 points off Aston Villa. If we can beat West Ham and beat Aston Villa away, we can start to believe we can get 5th. And that's all we can do this. I don't think we get top 4. I don't think we get anywhere near Spurs, to be honest with you. They've got what? That we needed to beat Spurs at home and we drew. I don't think we can get top 4. But first things first, we've got to solidify 6th. You know, Europa League football, is it 6th? I think it's Conference League, but I think if Liverpool win the Carabao Cup, 6th place becomes Europa League. Or if we get the 5th place for Champions League as well. It's tiny steps. It's tiny steps. First things first, solidify 6th, and then go for what you can get. I mean, because we can get dragged back into the race behind us. But first things first, that league position is looking a little bit better. It's not healthy. I'm not happy with where we are. But by Monday morning, I want to be 6th, looking up and not looking down, because Newcastle are about to hit a good run of form. West Ham, I think, are always going to be about there. Brighton, as we know. But it's looking a little bit better now. And that's what happens when you go and get big results away from home. Do you think we should get rid of Onana in the summer, says Ricky? I'm going to talk about that now. The time has come to drop Onana, says Akash. He's a major concern. John says, people say poor game management, but what do you do when... Yeah, look, I was speaking to my mate about this last night. It's a good point from John Halabi. Thanks for your super chat. Poor game management from Ten Hag. I couldn't move for this on social media yesterday. Poor substitutions, poor game management, poor game management. And I'm like, you're right, but you're wrong. Like, they were poor substitutions, but it's not like he's got, you know, Kovacic on the bench, or Gakpo on the bench, or, you know, Harvey Elliott on the bench. We don't have... He has to make subs. You have to make subs. Luke Shaw, Martinez, Casemiro, You know, they're only just coming back from long injuries. Rasmus has been running his arse off. You know, same with Garnacho. You've Rashford as well. You've got to make subs in the modern game. Around 70 minutes, you've got to do it. Otherwise, you're risking injury. We've got a game on Sunday. Like, people talk about bad substitutions, but we're playing on Sunday. We've got to make those subs. It's not bad game management. They're not bad subs. It's squad management that's the problem, and that's not really on Ten Hag. You know, take the Martinez situation. He wanted a ball-playing centre-back. He got Johnny Evans. So that's on Murta. That's on recruitment. So yes, they were bad subs. Yes, it was bad management. But that's only because we don't have a squad that matches the first team, and therefore there's a drop-off, isn't there? It's going to happen. It's like when you've watched a really good film like Heat, and then somebody puts The Nutty Professor on. It's going to be a drop-off because you've gone from a really good film to a big load of shit. It's a drop-off. And a different genre. Even if you like The Nutty Professor, it's not a thriller. It's a comedy. And that's the problem we've got. We've got to build a squad. The first team, when it's fit, is fine. But how many times in this current footballing world are you going to be able to put your best 11 out? They play too many games. You're always going to get injuries. And that's not even taking into account form. So we are going to have a roller coaster for the rest of the season. We will lose some games. We will lose some games again because we could have drawn last night because we don't have a bench. And that's a problem. On Onana, interesting stats on Onana. If you take Champions League games and Premier League games, so 22 games in the Premier League, 6 games in the Champions League, Onana's played 28 games. He's conceded 47 goals. We are averaging 1.7 goals per game. That is terrible. Like, so basically, every game in the Premier League, you basically, when you're doing the preview like tonight, we've got to say West Ham will score one. West Ham are likely to score 2 goals. Certainly 1, but maybe 2. We're averaging 1.7 goals per game with Onana in goal, which means to win a game, you've probably got to score 3. You know, look at Spurs, 2-2. Look at yesterday, we needed 4. We're conceding way too many goals. Now, I think this will improve with Martinez and Shaw back, with Varane and Delot, but you can't build anything when you're conceding that many goals. Last season, we conceded, was it 17 goals in the Premier League altogether? 9 at home. We've already conceded 32 in the Premier League. We're conceding way too many goals. Now, whether that's all on Onana or not is a topic point, but you can't climb the table, and you can't stay in Europe, and you can't keep a manager if you are conceding 1.7 goals per game, because we haven't had the attack to score 2 or 3 goals per game. And that's sort of the problem that we have at the moment. I think he's going to stick with Onana. And I think hopefully with that back 5 in front of him, including Casemiro, we will stop conceding goals. But the problem is, if you look at the goals we conceded yesterday, the third goal was a breakaway. We'll talk about Anthony in a minute. But the other 2 goals, when I think about it, one was a corner, one was a penalty. They nearly scored another one, didn't they, where Martinez cleared it off the line. We're conceding from crosses a lot, and clubs know that Onana's a weakness, and he is a problem at the moment, and we've got to work on it, because the amount of crosses that come in the box, and he just stays sellotaped to his goal line. I'm telling you now, the second goal, he should save that. And people are saying, oh, he's done his best, he's made himself big, but he's too close to his goal line. You know, if I step forward now, you can see what I had for breakfast. If I step back, you can see my moobs, right? That's what I'm talking about. People say, oh, Onana did well, he made himself big. If he steps forward, you cover it. Look, you can see my arms. If I step forward just half a metre, my arms are gone and I'm a bigger target. You try and get a ball past me now. It's just that one step. Just going like that. You make yourself bigger, and he doesn't do it. He's not at fault for the corner. The cross comes in, he can't come for that. It's low trajectory, he can't come for that. It's the second phase. When that ball is partially cleared, he should be stepping off his line, because the defence wants to do it anyway. He should be stepping off his line, and then he's bigger and he saves it. But he's too stuck to his goal line on crosses. And it's probably because when he does come for a cross, he bloody misses it, and then Martinez has to save it. So it's, yeah, it's a problem. But I would say West Ham at home, we've got to be looking to get a clean sheet, and maybe we can improve. But I've not been impressed with Onana this season. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that if we can keep Martinez fit, we should start to see more about what Onana's ball playing skills are about. But I've been really, really not impressed with his goalkeeping skills. I mean, as a goalkeeper, I think Matt Turner at Forest is on a par with him, and he's not very good either. I just think he just doesn't instill. I suppose the kindest thing I can say, because I don't want to be negative today, is that he doesn't instill confidence. And if he doesn't instill confidence in the fans, imagine what it's like for Varane and Dalot and Luke Shaw, etc. De Gea had his weaknesses, but he was also a big personality goalkeeper that made big saves, and he filled you with confidence. Not to say he wouldn't make a mistake, but he did. Onana he just throughout the season, even when he makes a save, he's not palming it out of play. He's palming it back into play. His positional sense with his feet. We saw it with Cole Palmer. It's not just crosses. He's very, very attracted to his goal line. Not in a way that he wants to marry it, But what I mean is he's very attracted to his goal line. He's always close to his goal line, which makes the goal bigger, which makes it harder to save. It's simple. Like, goalkeeping is about angles. Sometimes you're better off on your goal line because if it's a free kick, you've got longer to see it. But a lot of the time, it's about closing the angles and making it harder. And he doesn't seem to. His feet seem to be way off. I also think for a goalkeeper as well, he's very. I never noticed it when he was playing for Inter, and I never noticed it when he was playing for Ajax. But in the Premier League, he stands out as a goalkeeper as being very, down the gym. He's a muscly goalkeeper. And does that prevent him getting down? I don't know. Is that why he takes a step back? Because he can't get down quick enough? I've been analysing it a lot for a long time, and I've been speaking to people like Watto and Ben Foster about it. Is that why he takes a step back? Because he can't get down as quick as other goalkeepers, so he gives himself a little bit more time. But by taking a step back, you're giving a more of a target to shoot in. Because I suppose it makes sense. Because if he steps forward, we saw in the game in the AFCON, he's really slow to get down. If he's forward, he's got less chance. I don't know. It's just not working out at the moment, and it's not working out based on very basic goalkeeping skills that he seems to be struggling with. Top heavy was what I was thinking about the air slip, but not in a fat way. I just think he's muscly, and you need to be agile, don't you? I really hope he turns it around, because I look at the team yesterday and there's a lot to be positive about. And the problem is, we can be positive about the outfield players, but if he's a problem, it doesn't matter what you do outfield. We're going to lose games because of him. So we're out of Europe because of him, if we're being harsh. So I really hope he sorts it out, because we need to stop conceding goals, because then we'll start climbing the table as well. And look, I back Ten Hag. I want him to do well, but this is really important. PD says, Stylebridge, any news on the Martinez injury? Mark says, Fifth. I've got a bad feeling that Martinez will miss the game on Sunday. Yeah, I have got a bad feeling he's going to miss the game on Sunday. I don't know that it's going to be a bad injury, but the fact that you're icing your foot on a Thursday night means that I think there's a chance that he misses Sunday afternoon. It's only 2 days, so I don't think he'll play. And then if he doesn't play, straight away, that's the harsh truth, isn't it? If Martinez doesn't play against West Ham on Sunday, we don't play the way we did against Wolves. It's not rocket science. If Martinez can't play on Sunday, we won't play the same way. And that's really sad, because we played unrecognisable football last night compared to the rest of the season. And we had unrecognisable unity compared to the rest of the season. And we're going to miss it. If Martinez doesn't play, we won't play like that. And it'll be back to what we were doing before. And that's really sad. But I feel sad for Ten Hag and I feel sad for the squad because that's all it is. Oh, we've got some breaking news coming in here. It's just coming in from Ryan. I'll actually retweet him on Twitter for this so you can see it on my Twitter. Where it is. Let me get it out for you. Good news. I'm just retweeting it off Twitter now so you can see where it's verified. But basically, Ryan, who's our producer and head of social for United Stand, has just put a tweet out. Can confirm that Martinez is not injured. The ice pack he had strapped to his foot was just for safety following his substitution in the 86th minute against Wolves. So, not injured, which, look, I've got no reason to disbelieve that, and I'm sure that's coming from very, very good sources. Trust me on that. But I hope he can play on. I hope he can play on Sunday because, as I've said, the reason we're falling off this season is because we do not have a ball-playing centre-back apart from Martinez. And if he's out, we can't play out from the back. And we do not have a holding midfielder like Casemiro. And if he's out, we can't play like we did last night. And this is something INEOS need to solve. People say, let's get rid of Casemiro in the summer. So that's 2 players we've got to bring in. Casemiro goes in the summer. We've seen this season what happens if Casemiro is injured. We need 2 if Casemiro goes. We need a Martinez replacement as well in the summer. These things are absolutely essential. Otherwise, we can't play like we did in the first half, and that would be an absolutely crying shame. I just want to shout out to the 50% who wanted Jose back as Man United manager. Changing your mind a little bit? I'm only messing with you, but I thought it was stupidity, and I still do. You ain't never playing like last night with Jose, I'm afraid. And I don't want Jose back. He's a legend of the game, but I don't want Jose anywhere near Man United. We've got to try and make this work. And I saw last night the first signs of that. Quick poll, actually. Ten Hag in, Ten Hag out. Let's see how that's going. 70% were Ten Hag in before the game. Let's see what they're like now. Hopefully we've got a bit of momentum building. I'd be remiss of me not to talk about Anthony this morning. Look, the only thing I would say about this is that I think there is a witch hunt against Anthony, and I think there always has been. I think if he was British or he'd come through the youth setup, it'd be very, very different. I think that there has been a witch hunt against him from the moment that he did the spin. And as we know, with certain sections of the media, and let's be fair, certain sections of our fan base, they don't like that sort of thing. And he's been targeted pretty much ever since. However, the flip side of that coin is he's not playing very well. We spent £80 million on him, and he's not playing very, very well. And if we hadn't had that Kobe Mainoo equaliser winner last night, Anthony, quite rightly, would be getting absolute pelters for costing us the game because he runs into trouble and they break away on us. The Anthony situation will be resolved between now and the summer. And again, I suppose this is what where I am with this. He isn't playing very well. There has to be scrutiny. But I think that scrutiny goes a little bit too far. He's a Manchester United player who is trying his best. If his best isn't good enough, then he will be moved on. But I look around social media and I look around the media and I see this is not about what's best for Manchester United. This is about a witch hunt, and this is about targeting a player for some inner agenda dislike, which I just don't get. I'll always be constructive with players that I don't think should be at Man United. Scott McTominay came on and scored a goal yesterday. We lost the midfield battle with him on because he ain't Casemiro, but he did come on and score a goal, and he's capable of doing that in the last 20 minutes. But there is a drop-off. Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans have done well this season, but when they come on for people like Martinez and Varane, we can't play the same way. So that's constructive. They are players that we probably need to move on this summer. Anthony, based on his form at the moment, probably is facing a difficult summer. But there is 3 or 4 months left for it to change. I don't see the point in piling on players at the moment. People were doing it with Bruno last night. It's like, we finally got something to be positive about, and people are chasing the negative. Even what I was talking about with Onana then, he ain't going to change Onana. So why obsess about it? It's a concern, and it needs sorting, but we need to build some momentum, and I think we need some positivity. For me, I look at the bench and I think, what's Ahmad got to do to get on? I completely agree with that. I don't understand why Ahmad hasn't been loaned out again if he's not coming on ahead of Forson and Anthony. But there are other games to come. But I just choose positivity over negativity this morning because I think there is a lot to be positive about. Stephen Farrell, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. Did you have a good kip after Man United won, says Sandeep? I'd have liked a little bit more, Sandeep. I would like to a little bit more. I couldn't get to sleep till after midnight, and then I was up at 7. I like to get me 8 hours, so I'm an hour down. Fief says, any news on the Martinez injury? Well, we've just broken it there. It's on my Twitter feed as well. Apparently, Martinez is not injured. It's just precautionary to put ice on his injured foot after he comes off. Obviously, it was quite a significant injury. He's been out for 8 months with it. So positive news there. Obviously, I'm going to be doing the preview tonight on that. And don't forget, quick turnaround, but we've got a Ten Hag press conference coming up at lunchtime as well. And if you like the career mode, Rasmus was on fire last night for Man United. He's on fire in my career mode as we try to chase Liverpool down. Can Goldbridge Ball bring the title back to Man United? 3 o'clock this afternoon, I'm live on my YouTube channel with the career mode. So lots of positivity around at the moment. And don't forget, I can't believe I've got score predictions versus Wolves there. I'll tell you, you don't need a score prediction. I'll tell you the result. 4-3, and then Dogs got taken for a walk. Bonio FC, get in the bin. What a dive by Neto as well. I knew it. I wouldn't be able to not talk about it. Also as well, fingers crossed, we're going to beat West Ham at the weekend because next week, if everything goes to plan, we've got an amazing bit of content for you. No spoilers, no nothing. It's just, I think it's the best bit of content I've ever done. And I think you're going to absolutely love it. And it's a massive present to all of you lot. So just have that in the back of your mind. If you're not feeling positive, trust me, this is exciting and you're going to love it. And that's a present after the weekend, which hopefully Man United will deliver another 3 points. Mark, have you been rewatching The Greatest Showman yesterday? Love the title, breaks into song. You've been sneaking in, says... I love The Greatest Showman. I love The Greatest Showman. It sort of reminds me of my story. If you know, you know. Thanks everyone for watching. Legends, we've got lots of content for you today. Got a preview this evening. We've got the Ten Hag press conference reaction as well. And if you like a bit of FIFA, EAFC, whatever they call it, Goldbridge career mode, old school style, back this afternoon, 3 at live at 3. Take care everyone, and I'll speak to you all in a bit. And Big Mind has got an interview in 12 minutes. Go smash it, mate. The United Stand community's around you. Anthony's here to stay, says Andrew Lineker. The amortisation of contract means United need to sell him for 60 million. The difference is an FFP loss. Look, let's wait and see. Let's try and be a bit positive. Take care, everyone. I'll speak to you all in a bit.